Alright, so hey, Death Jail Summer Escape event. Let's get in there. More stuff to do. Yeah, we already saw, at the end of the last stream, first place was Team Helena, or Team Fran, I mean. Because everyone wanted hearts. This is the first time that Team Saberface hasn't been in the top 3. Crazy. The Inner Courtyard, Assassination 1 Preparation. Come with me, Fran. The enemy is a Lancer. Sorry, I have this set up for Lancers. I might as well just go in like this. Hey, Jelly. Don't worry, Dakota Dup. Sleeping is overrated. And hey, Disaster Lord, Electrolysis, and Somazora. Story time.
Looks like you're all here. Remember everyone, the race is still on, so I'm keeping track of how long it took each of you to get here. Now, as far as the prisoner in this checkpoint, this time I'm not gonna say anything. I want all of you to talk this out among yourselves.
I see, we've gone full Silence of the Lambs with Enkidu here.
Well, hello there. It's not often that I get visitors. Is this the one that Scorpion Woman told us about? It seems so, yes. This is the dangerous criminal she mentioned. They certainly seem to be getting a different sort of treatment than the rest of the prisoners. Those are some awfully secure bonds. It's almost hard to believe we're in the same prison. Well, it's not as if they've been completely denied any freedom. Look, they're using their chains to pick up and read clay tablets? It may look like a pretty analog setup, but its inner mechanisms are amazing. All they need to do is brush their fingertips across the surface and it changes to the next page. I wonder what time period it's from. Books are great. You should all read the Book of the Gods. It'll give you knowledge and help you grow as a person. As far as I'm concerned, there's no downside whatsoever to learning the teachings of the gods. It's like a book of instructions, or maybe commands, or specifications. I can see none of that interests you. Well then, let me introduce myself. I'm Enkidu, the thought criminal from the Age of Gods. I've been a prisoner here so long I've lost track of time.
The thought criminal.
May I ask what you did to warrant such a lengthy incarceration, and in such confining restraints? Well, the short version is probably that I refused to obey Mev and become one of her subjects. That can't possibly be the only reason you've been kept here like this. Are you sure there isn't anything else? Yeah, come on, be honest with us. Surely you must have done something else to land you here. My impression of you is that you had done something like, say, force people to play a game where they have to look for a bomb you've hidden in a teapot. Or maybe trick some weak-willed people into starting a riot with words alone. You know, some sort of devilish criminal genius plot like that. Impressions, eh? That was certainly part of it. As soon as Mev saw me, she said, "That face! That's the face of a dastardly mastermind. A psychopath who thinks as little of plotting to overthrow nations as he does making his morning tea. That's the kind of criminal who would come up with a sort of calculated, cold-hearted plot that could throw the entire kingdom of Connacht into pandemonium and somehow leave their hands completely clean when it was all over. That's the kind of loathsome deviant we're dealing with here. Everyone, get him!" And just like that, they brought me here, no questions asked. It was, as they say, a trumped-up charge. Poor thing. Well, there's no telling what the future holds. It's not entirely out of the realm of possibility that I might come up with such a plot the next day, so Mev may not have been entirely off base. He's certainly reacting to his circumstances remarkably well. Or is he actually a she? Nonetheless, you did not actually commit any crimes, correct? And even if you had, there's no way you could hope to reform while bound as you are. As a prefect, I cannot overlook this transgression. Stay right where you are. Do not move a muscle. My, it's been so long since I've had my restraints removed for anything other than meals. Thank you, those restraints were made to be impossible for me to remove on my own. So there's no telling how long I might have had to stay here if you hadn't come along. As you can see, Queen Mev's weakness is the fact that she's focused solely on restraining criminals, and is thus helpless against other forms of power. Her authority must only extend to captured criminals, and doesn't have any effect on external sources of power. Say, I know this is shameless of me since you've been kind enough to help me. But since it's been so long since I've been free, I hope you don't mind if I ask you for another favor. What is it? Do you wish for me to clean this room for you? Right now, I am a summer maid devoted to serving Master. However, I would be willing to make a house call if he were to grant me permission. That would even give me an excuse to employ the maid rewards cards I made, though I never truly believed I would have a chance to make use of them. Very well. Your pleas have convinced me. I shall clean up everything in this room so fast it'll make your head spin, and I shall not stop until, with tears in your eyes, you beg me to do so. No, it's not that. I mean, I would love for you to clean up the rust and mold that's built up here over the years, but I have something else in mind. I've been bound up in here for so long that I'm a little worried I may not be fully functional. It's not exactly an urgent matter right now, but as a weapon, I would be very embarrassing to find out I wasn't functioning properly in the middle of a battle. Could I ask you to assist me in a combat test, so I can see how everything is working? If you and Gorgon are anything to go by, it would seem the prisoners here are severely bereft of playmates. Although I suppose I cannot say I am surprised, given how you've been forced to live in a moldy, rat-infested cell like this for so long. Fortunately for you, I am as generous as I am kind. Children often ask me to play with them when I traveled around town incognito, and I would gladly oblige. Of course, I'm also an exemplary emperor who takes every one of her pursuits seriously, so I always ended up beating them so soundly they would go home bawling. That's really not something to brag about, you know. Still, in this case, I guess it's okay since there are so many of us here. This could even be a more efficient way of introducing ourselves. Why is everyone here always so eager for a fight? And here, I was hoping that being confined in a death row prison might keep me safe from dangerous and potentially deadly situations.
Ah, yes, being in a death row prison, the safest place on Earth. The logic is, perfect there. Zetsubo.
いただくわ。捕らえたわ。
とりゃてりゃとりゃ
Toria!
セイバーでかいの引くよ
えいえい
Quick, Okita, take out your frustrations for not having a swimsuit.
これで終わりです勝ったご褒美に氷ください
I feel when not only Okita hasn't got a swimsuit version yet, but also the 5-star saber strengthening that just went out was to Nero Bride of all sabers. Alrighty. Let's take Nero. That'll work. Wait, cost exceeded? Oh, whoops. That pushed me over the edge, huh?
Now I see. So you want to defeat Mev, and to do that you were looking for someone with the knowledge you needed and the ability to perform the necessary calculations. Exactly. Are you good at math? I have to say though, if you aren't the dastardly bizarre intellectual prison professor that we were hoping to find, I'm afraid that this was all a waste. Oh well, it's not as though we were exactly guaranteed to succeed here. I guess it can't be helped. Yes, I am good at math. Okay, since you were kind enough to remove my restraints, I'll help you. Wait, there is something that we can do? Given how many people don't give pharaohs the respect we deserve lately, it's wonderful to meet someone who properly understands the importance of compassion. That said, can you actually do what we need? Of course. While I may not be some sort of criminal mastermind, I am a weapon. Calculating the ballistic trajectory of a projectile is a core function of mine. And of course, I already know the layout of the prison. The courtyard setup, the palace with the warden's office, all of the other structures. I may not have seen them directly, but I'm able to perceive them clearly, even enough through the resonance of the earth. It's not like anything besides me can turn into anything else after all. If we need more information, there are numerous ways to collect it from here. Ara! I can't say you are the sort of person that I was expecting to find, but it does seem you have the knowledge and abilities that we were seeking. One good turn really does deserve another. If you do good, you'll be rewarded in kind, just like the Buddha said.
I prefer to think that if one takes risks and engages in foul play, one will be richly rewarded. Remember that we've been digging beneath this prison in an attempt to escape it, and freeing other villainous criminals as we do so. At least from our warden's perspective, we must be quite the villains ourselves. Well, no matter. Thanks to our new friend here, we now have the data we lacked. All we need to do now is incorporate those numbers into our equations and...
Oh, it's mealtime. Have you been behaving yourself in here? Come, show me how our saddest, most wonderfully naive prisoner is doing, just like you always do. In return, I'll laugh at you, lecture you about life in captivity, and grind my teeth as I fight my urge to drain your blood. You're free! What's going on? Why are your restraints off? Oh, it's nice, isn't it? These kind passersby helped me out of them. What? How did you all get in here? You removed their restraints? Let's just say that one thing led to another. There's something that we need with this one's help with, after all. You can't be serious. We keep prisoners in solitary confinement for a reason. How can you not see that? That applies whether you're a poor victim who's been marked by the Blood Countess, or a vampiress who has been imprisoned for her sins. This simply will not do. It will not do! I will never, never, never let anyone escape their incarceration before their sentence has been served. That goes for all of you just as much as it does in Kidu. Though I will say I'm impressed that you've managed to dig this far. As a reward, I shall fill your tunnels back in with your anguished screams. We've already taken out Nightingale. There's no going back now, so let's do this.
Summer Camilla, yep, she's coming to JP. Wan.
世に見惚れたか？この正直者め。ナイスナイスバディ。それでいいんだ。いくわよ。いざ。それでいいんだ。へい。せい。我がマナーのなっていない客よな。ドドドドダーン。この奇跡は星のように。
ダダダダダダーン。
我が劇場のサビになるか。へい。撃てー。
Wan.
夏の話題を独り占めだな。準備は良いな。オリンピアプラウデーレ、祭典の席をあげよ。これは誰だ？美女だ？ローマだ？もちろんユだよ。ラウダレントゥム・ドンス・イルステリア。せっ。へい。
Hit that hoe with a hoe.
いただく。
That's how Sanzong fights. She hits them hoes with a hoe.
無様ね。無様ね。
本気出しちゃうんだから御仏パワー。
Alright, give her 1,000 slaps to the
マナーの
face.
なっていない客よな。御仏のカード見せてあげる。へい5秒間シャカニュレーション。いささか派手すぎたかもしれんな。
Carmilla is technically an older Elizabeth, but they're very different from each other.
That should take care of all the data we need for our calculations.
So it would seem. Now to hand this off to the engineering man. Team Steve. It's done!
Let me see. Oh yes, these blueprints are perfect. If you make it according to these specifications, the projectile should absolutely hit our target at the speed and trajectory we calculated. Oh! So we finally have a means of assassinating Mev. Looks that way, but we only have one shot. We can't let her find out what we're up to beforehand, and we can't afford to fail either. No matter how insistent Mev may be about taking a shower at the same time each day, if she knows we're planning to assassinate her there, she won't be so predictable. We need to consider this a one-time opportunity. Of course we do! No matter how low the stakes may be, one only ever gets a single chance to succeed in any battle. Which means this is our Okeazama! Oh, maybe we should pray for victory or something. I could dance an Atsumori if you like. The only problem left is actually building the thing. As you can see, I only have the Book of Gods here. So I'd like you to handle collecting the materials and assembling the catapult. You put that back on? And you're going back to reading your clay tablets? I take it that you consider your part in this to be concluded. It seems that you too have no intention of leaving yet. No, I don't plan on leaving. At least not yet. I stay here, at least in part because I like it. I helped you with your plan because it benefited me. At any rate, you all should go ahead with your plan. I'll be waiting to see how it turns out. Don't worry, I'm not sure if it's just because the guards are afraid of me or not, but they've left me with plenty of books to read. I imagine your plan will be finished by the time I've gotten through all of them.
True. He, or she, has already helped us more than enough. I also thoroughly appreciate the value of time spent reading, so I believe it's fair to say that the next part of it is our problem to solve. One task yet remains before we can put our plan into action. That said, we are still prisoners. A lot of typos in this particular, event. As such, I believe it goes without saying that if we're to create this cheese-apult, we'll still need a certain someone's help. Incidentally, I'm aware the picture this paints is one of a sad 50-ish gentleman talking to a doll, so I hope it all goes without saying that this picture is one of happenstance, not intent.
Senpai.
I'm on it.
Right. I'm sure the others will tell us everything you need to get. And just like before, we can use the visiting room system to sneak them the materials. That should let them use their blueprints to build the cheesapult. This may not be part of the race, but it will still directly affect everyone's escape plan. I'll help you out too, so let's both do our best, Senpai.
Even the professor can't tell. Look, the easiest way to tell is to go up to Enkidu and just grab what they've got. Just swing your hand right in there and be like, so that's what's there. And then run. You should probably run afterwards. Or you could probably ask Gilgamesh, but he probably wouldn't be willing to tell you. It's time for the most heartwarming story ever to continue.
Between the abnormalities in Connacht's land, the invisible attack dog and prison guards who have disappeared, probably slacking off, Queen Mev certainly has more than her fair share of headaches. Nonetheless, she never forgets the importance of smiling and keeping her composure. After another hard day of problem solving, it's time for the Queen's regular shower. How wonderfully Celtic! What's more, today we have a special treat. We've been authorized to show the Queen's shower on the air. Well, not exactly authorized, I'm afraid.
Hey, welcome back, guys. The censors tried to stop me, but we're back. No censorship can stop me from showing live showers. Anyway.
This incredible spectacle alone should be a more than ample reward for any well-trained Connaughtian. We are receiving reports of viewers fainting across the country, so please try to contain yourselves. Nonetheless, I can hardly blame you. Just the sound of the water hitting her body is almost too much. Oh, to be one of those lucky little droplets. How alluring. How beautiful. How utterly divine. It's as though the steam itself, as it dances around the shower, is hesitant to touch that perfect form. As the steam wafts shyly out the window, she turns towards it and smiles as if to tell it has nothing to fear. And don't worry, there are no tall buildings nearby that can see into this window, so she has nothing to fear from peeping Toms. The only thing that could be so lucky as to catch sight of her would be a little bird flying by. And should that happen, the Queen would surely smile and invite the tiny citizen to come and join her in song. Blue skies, shower stream, her smiling face. As long as we have these joyous sights to feast upon, the nation of Connacht will surely endure forever. Indeed, so long as our beloved Queen lives, Connacht is assured to enjoy boundless prosperity for... What's this? Hi-ya! Oh my, what a surprise! The Queen has performed a back-facing roundhouse. Such splendor, such beauty! One might die of shock from viewing such perfection in motion. Ha! Did you really think that would work on me? I don't know what sort of lowlife is responsible for this, but this is as good a chance as any to set the record straight. Yes, if a piece of cheese hits me, I will die. Just like how anyone else would die by getting hit by a rock. But that's only if it manages to hit me. And unfortunately for you would-be assassins, I've trained my body to automatically react whenever cheese comes flying towards it. I am the Queen of Connacht. I have a duty to lead this land to prosperity for a long, long time to come. There's no way I was going to let my weakness remain a weakness forever.
What? What? Oh?
What?
Oh, come on! The only way to hit her with cheese, it would seem, is to get right up into her and poke her with it. Escape 3 for another hope. Cheese. Protection from cheese. EX. Our calculations were perfect. The cheese's shape and weight, the elevation, the initial speed, the timing, the execution. We tested our design extensively to eliminate all design flaws and possibility of error before arriving at our final iteration. It was a feat of mathematical and engineering genius. So let's hold our heads high, my fellow scientists. It's not fair!
I know all too well how you feel, lion-headed king of inventions. We did our very best, made no mistakes, and yet we were still ultimately defeated in a surprisingly low-tech way. That was an amazing back-facing roundhouse. I could swear I even saw a shockwave on impact. Since there was nothing sabery about her kick, I've nothing to praise for it. Nothing but praise for it. I do have to wonder, though, is that sort of thing trendy with queens these days? The Mev we've seen in this singularity does strike me as being a little different from the one we've seen before. It's almost like she's been optimized to protect her land or something. Then again, it may just be that any Celtic woman could pull off something like that if she trained hard enough. Regardless, the fact remains that we failed to clean her up. That is our greatest problem. Ugh. We couldn't beat her. You're not going to say you're glad she didn't die, are you? Yes. In some circumstances, witnessing the death of another can be unpleasant for me, as it can cause me to think of my own death. However, such is not the case with sniping, as it does not bring my death to mind. As such, I typically would not care one way or the other. However, since the survival of this queen has a direct effect on our own chances at living or dying, it would seem that I do not have the luxury of indifference. Now that we failed to cheese her, she'll be much more alert than she was before. We should assume we won't get another shot at taking her out. Oh, she'll also probably start trying to root out the culprits and make an example of them. You know, grisly executions and such. Pretty standard stuff with your typical tyrannical despot. I've had my fair share of attempted assassinations, so believe me, I know what I'm talking about. You should have seen Sugitani's shooting event. Talk about dangerous. Of course, it didn't change the fact that I still ended up Honoji'd in the end.
She takes one step back. I love you, Nobu.
I too understand how difficult it is to assassinate someone who has her guard up. The only course of action available to us is to wait for her to lower her guard, whether it takes months or years. But how will I protect public decency this summer if I'm locked away the entire time? So essentially, we've completely failed and lost our chance to assassinate her. Great. Which means we've lost our one and only chance to get rid of the prison field. I was surprised too, so much so that I even looked up from the Book of the Gods. But I'm not surprised that your assassination attempt failed. What I'm surprised by is Mev's self-control in overcoming her weakness. I thought that she was the type to trust her natural abilities so much that she would never bother with further training. But clearly I was wrong. It turns out she's the sort who's willing to do whatever she has to in order to overcome her flaws. So it would seem, I had the wrong idea about her too. As the ruler of a kingdom myself, I have to give her credit where credit is due. Yes, I suppose you're right about that. And now, unfortunately, it seems that our hands are tied. After all, the only way to get around the prison field is to assassinate Mev. You mean you're not all trying to take over this prison for yourselves? How very pacifist of you. I didn't realize that all you wanted was a way to remove the barrier. If that's so, then there's still a way to remove it. All you need to do is follow the right steps. Eh? Hold up! What did you just say? There's another way to remove the prison field? One that doesn't involve killing Mev? Of course there is. Guitarist and girl who's learning to swim? Like any mechanical creation, it can be turned off. I'm sorry, guitarist and girl that's learning to swim. Like any mechanical creation, it can be turned off. Of course, assassinating Mev would have just sidestepped all of that entirely and gone straight to tearing down the whole prison. But if all you want is to get rid of the barrier, then you simply need to make the appropriate arrangements. How did we not see this sooner? This calls all that we have known into question. The cursed snake woman must have lied to us again. So somebody else told you that killing Mev was the only way to get rid of the barrier, huh? Given the crudity of that particular method, I have an idea of who it was. Still, I don't think you could have done anything differently. I'm the only one here who knows about this. As I may have mentioned before, there are some things that only those of us born of the Earth can grasp. So then, how do we go about disabling the prison field? I sense the barrier's origin in a stone located somewhere high above the ground. It seems to be a control device, and because of how powerful the barrier it emits, its control spell is actually quite simple. I don't see any supplementary power units anywhere, so I think that just turning this device off should let you shut down the barrier.
Oh no, she has an Artosis pylon.
A stone located high up off the ground. I wonder if it's anything like the Five Elements Mountain on top of Wukong. Or maybe it's more like a floating boulder from the Heavenly Realm. But, I don't think I saw anything like that outside. It could be something that's just made out of stone. Something made out of stone, but we didn't see anything like... That's it!
For those of you that don't know, by the way, chat, an Artosis pylon is the StarCraft term for having a single pylon power multiple crucial buildings. So if the opponent targets it and kills it, then it depowers all of that, and you're left wondering about everything that you've ever done in life, as you effectively lose like 5 buildings worth of stuff. Make sure to make multiple pylons, otherwise you're in for a bad future.
That statue stood out like a sore thumb when we first got here, but at some point we must have gotten so used to it that we stopped paying it any attention.
Now I see. It was hiding in plain sight all along. Incidentally, that was one of my 48 pushing 50 techniques in action. Say something that sounds appropriately detective-ish to prevent anyone from grilling you on why you didn't notice sooner. I recommend it to anyone working in middle to upper tiers of management.
Given that even a genius of my caliber failed to notice this, any grilling of that sort would be meaningless. The real question is, what do we do now?
So, if we can manage to do something about the control device in that statue, we may be able to get rid of the barrier. Is that right? Well, yes, but Mev is very aware of how important the device is. Security is bound to be tighter than ever. What's more, using my presence detection, I can tell there's someone else in this prison who's nearly as powerful as her. That must be Vice Warden Quetzalcoatl. Meanwhile, we remain weakened. If we attempt to approach the device without a plan, we'll surely be cleaned up. I really don't want to die. Do we have no other options? Maybe we could persuade her to let us out, or win her over with a bribe. If only it were that easy. Actually, that sort of approach might just be your best option. For example, in addition to myself, I've heard there's another maximum security prisoner who happens to be a master of disguise.
It's Yanqing.
I presume you can take it from there.
Now I see. This does seem worth considering.
Aha, so that's what you mean. It looks like all of the intellectual racers like Enkidu's idea. Ah, it's so much nicer being able to talk over here. How about you, Gouda? Figured it out yet?
Yup, sure have.
I can't believe you're able to keep up with such brainy servants. That's amazing, Senpai. I don't doubt that you're telling the truth, but I can also tell from your wry smile how embarrassed you are to be praised like that.
Oh, he has a bonus? I didn't even know. Look, the only servant I can think of that's a master of disguise is the one that can literally transform into others, and that's Yanqing, so.
We'll get this master of disguise to trick Quetzalcoatl and have her deactivate the prison field for us. There are just 2 things we need to confirm. First, is Quetzalcoatl authorized to do that? Definitely. I've noticed that the prison field's range and strength are adjusted occasionally. And it has happened at times when Mev is far away from the prison. In fact, the most recent adjustment was made right before you all arrived. I'm guessing she contacted the prison to inform them she was bringing in a group of powerful prisoners so that they could strengthen the barrier a bit before they arrived. And it couldn't possibly have been Mev who made the adjustment. While Mev is surely the core of the barrier's power, the fact that the barrier is rooted here in this location tells us something important. It's impossible for one person to manage alone. Good. Now, here's the second thing.
4ホールミニッツソーグロブ
How did that play? I have that paused. Oh well, thank you for the 4 whole minutes. Truly dead inside.
Good. Now, here's the second thing. If we're going to trick Quetzalcoatl into following false orders, those orders will naturally have come from a false Mev. Is that going to work, though? I mean, can this person really disguise himself as Mev well enough to fool her? If this master is as good as they're rumored to be, that shouldn't be a problem. I'm told that they can transform into anyone, male or female. Supposedly, they can mimic their target's spirit origin somehow.
This could be a problem. I only know of 2 people with such skill in disguise, and one of them I would very much prefer to avoid. I'll just ask directly. Is this Master of Disguise a detective?
No, I don't think so. For one thing, detectives usually send people to prison, not get sent there themselves. If this person is anything, then according to the rumors I've heard, I'd say they're a phantom.
The Phantom Menace.
It sounds like you should be able to dig your way to the cell of this mysterious Master of Disguise from here. Okay, I've officially made their cell the next checkpoint. If you want to get rid of the prison field, you'll have to get this phantom person to join you. Once you've done that, then you'll be much closer to your escape. Alright everyone, get ready. The prison break race is back on!